The moment an employer asks about your salary expectations during a first phone screen, the clock starts ticking on your financial leverage. Answer too early, and you lose. State a number that is too low, and you anchor yourself to a bargain basement offer before you even demonstrate your value. State a number that is too high, and HR screens you out before you ever speak to the hiring manager who actually has the budget to pay you. This chart maps the timeline of your negotiating power. On the y-axis, we have your leverage, plotted against time on the x-axis. Down here at the initial application phase, your leverage is at its absolute lowest. You are just one of dozens of potentially qualified professionals in a digital stack. The employer has not invested time or money in you, and they do not know what makes you unique. But look what happens later. Your leverage spikes only after the hiring manager decides you are the primary person who can fix their operational headache. If you give away your pricing before establishing your value, you give the employer all the power. To keep control of the conversation, we are going to walk through exact step-by-step strategies and field-tested scripts to deflect 4 distinct types of early salary pressure. Before we begin, you need to prepare. Research your target market rate and determine your personal stretch number, the ideal top-tier compensation you want to achieve. And get ready to take a few screenshots, because you will need these exact phrases for your next interview. Mastering these early deflection tactics is the most reliable way to protect your financial leverage right up until a real offer is on the table. Step 1. Handling the standard phone screen. This typically happens when an internal or external recruiter pauses the introductory call and asks, "Before we proceed, what salary range are you looking for?" Do not freeze, and do not provide a number. The employer created the job requisition. They spent weeks securing budget approvals before posting the role. They know the pay band, and you do not. The goal here is to put the responsibility back on the employer to state their approved range first. We use a 4-part script formula: acknowledge and validate, anchor and pivot, the business case, and the low-pressure close. This text graphic shows exactly how to deliver the scope-dependent pivot. First, acknowledge. I appreciate you bringing up compensation early. Next, pivot to scope. At this stage, my focus is on finding the right organizational fit and understanding the full scope of responsibility. Then, make the business case. Until I have a chance to dive into the exact expectations and full total compensation package, it is tough to place a specific dollar figure on the position. The final move secures your position. You close with a direct question. What is the approved target range you have budgeted for this role? This pivot successfully forces the recruiter to reveal the corporate budget first. You keep the focus on the actual work required, and you do it without sounding coy or evasive. The second challenge is the past salary trap. Recruiters often try to establish a baseline by asking, "What are you currently making at your firm?" Never reveal your current or past pay. In many cities, states, and provinces across North America and the EU, it is now legally prohibited for employers to even ask about your current or past compensation. The logic behind refusing is straightforward. Your past compensation reflects past business conditions. It does not reflect your current market value, and it certainly does not reflect the scope of work for this new role. This text graphic contains the past salary deflection script. You start by validating. I am happy to share the impact I deliver in my current role, but I prefer to keep my compensation confidential. Then deliver this firm boundary. More importantly, my current salary was set years ago under very different market conditions and a completely different scope of work. You evaluate new opportunities based on current market rates, not previous corporate structures. Immediately follow that refusal with a request for their numbers. Say, "If you can share the baseline compensation range for this position, I can quickly confirm whether we are close enough to keep moving forward." Shutting down inquiries into your past salary firmly prevents the employer from using your old, outdated business conditions to set a permanent basement for a new offer. Occasionally, a recruiter will hit a wall and refuse to move forward. They will claim that their internal applicant system strictly requires a numerical entry before they can submit your file to the hiring manager. When this happens, you use a forced hand counter tactic. You provide a wide, data-backed range, anchored specifically around your highest stretch number. This illustrates the math for a safe range. Say market research shows a target salary of $140,000, but your personal stretch goal is $150,000. Instead of giving the target, position your $150,000 goal near the bottom floor of your range. You tell them, based on my research, I'm looking at $145,000 to $165,000. When you deliver this wide range, you must explicitly state that where you finally land within that spectrum depends entirely on total compensation details, like the equity package and target performance bonuses. This strategy satisfies the recruiter's rigid system requirements by giving them a number to type in, while secretly keeping your price ceiling extremely high. Moving away from live phone screens, we have to tackle online job applications and applicant tracking systems. The primary digital threat here is a mandatory desired salary field. If you encounter this on an online form, the software will literally block the submission of your application until a number is typed in. This browser mockup demonstrates our primary bypass tactic. Simply enter a 0 or a 1 into the field. Many corporate portals accept these specific inputs as placeholder values. This allows you to bypass the mandatory digital filter without committing to a real figure. As a fallback tactic, if the software strictly requires a realistic salary number, check the job post for a legally published range. Enter the absolute highest tier of that published range. Never enter your actual current salary into these automated forms. Typing in a lower number permanently records that baseline in the company's recruiter database. You destroy your future leverage before an interview even happens. Defeating these digital gatekeepers guarantees your application reaches a human being, and it ensures you do it without preemptively surrendering your negotiating power. You now possess a complete customized toolkit to navigate and neutralize any early salary pressure an employer throws at you. You can bypass mandatory digital forms, cleanly deflect tricky historical pay questions, and anchor your target range high when you are forced into a corner. Maintain professional calm. Rely on these field-tested scripts, and you will confidently keep the negotiating power firmly in your hands. For coaching, video courses, books, and guides, head over to JobSearch.Community to become an insider. And please like, comment, and share this video. Refusing to reveal your price early transforms you from a desperate applicant in a digital stack into a highly valued professional holding all the leverage.